This video, as by the title, is just going to talk about how I was able to pass my NASM exam. So I am working out of the first or the most recent edition. It is the 6th edition. So this is the latest edition. A lot of the YouTube videos that I've been watching lately has been out of the 5th edition, so I believe this is the most recent one. I passed my exam on the 13th. Today I think is the 16th. So I passed my exam a few days ago. Here is my passing results. I'm sorry, you guys. I am recording off of 2 devices. I just want to see which one has better quality. So bear with me with that. So basically, I just want to talk about my experience in my exam, what I noticed on the exam, what I didn't notice, as well as just some tips that I would recommend for anyone who is going through the process of taking the exam. So, on my exam, what I did notice, or back up, let's say, what I did to be successful. So, I don't have any background in any science schooling. I went to school for about a year at a private college, going for psychology. So I had no type of really like science or human movement type of background. So this was completely new to me. So I really had to dive deep into these terms and take a lot of additional help. So the program that I signed up for here is the guided study. So they do have a couple different options. I believe they have a self-study where if you are one of those people that can stay on track and that can like make sure that they set time apart each day to do certain things, perfect, then I believe that the self-study will be great. Now, if you aren't like me, I get busy, I get sidetracked. I need someone to say homework is due this day, or we're having a discussion on this day and this time. You need to make sure that you do it. That is what I signed up for. So in the guided study, I received a coach who was grading all of our discussion questions. We also had like a group of all of the people who started. So we started on July 24th. We were set to end early October. And then from there, you can set your exam at your own pace on when you decide to take the exam. So you got the coach, you got the group full of people who are going through the same thing as you. So we had like a discussion group, as well as like on there, they gave you a lot of practice exams, a lot of quizzes, a lot of games, you can call it. So I'm not sure on how much it differs between the self-study. I'm not sure if they give you that same type of program, but I know in the guided study for me, they gave us a lot of those things, which I found very helpful. So another thing that I did a lot of was take notes on note cards. So a lot of my note cards were things that I didn't understand that I felt like I needed to understand on. So one, for example, that I didn't understand was the different flexibility training. So I made a lot of note cards for that, as well as terms that I just didn't understand. That helped me out a lot. So again, during the guided study, they do give you a lot of practice exams that they want you to go over, and they want you to get a certain percentage. I believe it's 70%. Sorry, my hair is bugging me. 70% or higher. So what I would do is when I took those exams, I would write down those questions as to how I got them, or what questions I got wrong and why it was wrong. And I would go back into the book and read as to why I thought the answer was that and what the correct answer was and why. So that helped me out a lot, because during the exam, I found first I'll back up. During the practice exams, I found myself memorizing the questions. So I would remember like, oh, I got this one wrong last time. I remember it was that answer. Don't do that, you guys. So that was one thing that I messed up on. The reason why I say don't do that is because the exam is not about the basic knowledge that they give you here in this book. It's not about that. What it is that they give you this knowledge from this book, and they want you to apply it to the population, basically. So speeding up to the exam, what I notice on the exam a lot is applied questions. So they give you so you're supposed to know how to measure resting heart rate. They wanted you to apply that to certain individuals, endurance athletes, someone who has never worked out before, things like that. They wanted you to apply that knowledge to them and give them the answer. So yes, it is multiple choice, but it's not just memory. Okay, so how do you calculate the resting heart rate? That's something that we all should understand from reading the book. But no, it was more on how do you apply that to this type of population, which I found to be a little bit difficult. In all honesty, you guys, I did not, as going through the test, being in that room, I was not expecting to pass, because initially the first question shocked me and I didn't know the answer. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys about my experience. I didn't know the answer on the first question. So initially I assumed that the whole test was going to go downhill. But again, a lot of the things that I noticed on my exam was more about the population. So how do you train these specific peoples? So like endurance athletes, you have obese clients, you have people with hypertension. How do you train them? A lot of things that I noticed on there was more about, sorry if I'm looking off in space. I have a view on my patio here that I keep looking at. But it was more questions on how to be professional on my exam. I know the exam switches up, but I had a lot of questions on professionalism, how long you should keep clients' information on file for, how many CEUs you need, over how long of a time you need those, business conduct. There was a lot of questions. There wasn't too much about how the heart functions on my exam, which I thought was going to be a lot on there. There was quite a few questions on nutrition on my exam, about the daily intake of protein for certain populations. So I know my first question that I didn't get correct was, what was the minimum intake of protein expected daily for an endurance athlete? And I was memorizing and I understood the minimum daily intake of protein, but didn't understand as to how it differed for an endurance athlete. You guys may know that, great. But again, for my advice, take that and run with it. Make sure that you understand how to apply that knowledge, not that you just know it. Make sure that you understand it. And that's one thing that when I was watching YouTube videos about people's experiences, that's one thing that they did state, and I'm just going to reiterate that as well. Make sure that you understand it. So again, I didn't see too much or too many questions on, let me see, I didn't see too many questions on flexibility training. I seen a lot of questions on the changes of mode or changes of moderation. I seen a lot of questions on were they in a pre-contemplation or the preparation phases, things like that. I seen a lot of questions on my exam. So taking the exam, so they send you to a PSI location, which is I guess a third-party location. Initially, when you walk into the room, they check you in, take all of your belongings, because you cannot take anything into the room, no matter if it's water, food, anything. You can't take it into the room. So they lock all your belongings up. They sit you in front of a computer that has two walls up, or dividers up, so kind of like a cubicle. They sit you in front of it. They give you a practice way of how to work through or click through questions. So they give you 10 of those. They ask you, are you ready to now take the exam? Because this is how it's going to be. You say yes or no. And then you just click through the exam. And then, again, it is 120 questions. If you guys already or don't already know, 20 of those questions do not count against you or work for you. Those are research questions. So if you guys don't know that, so it's really only 100 questions, but you will not know on the exam which questions are research questions or which are the real ones. So just treat every question basically as it's gonna count against me and for me if I get it wrong or right. But so again, once you finish the exam, it doesn't let you know, which I thought I remembered them saying that it's supposed to, but on the screen it doesn't let you know anything. Once you press end, you can't go back to do anything else. So they tell you to go see your proctor. You go see them. They give you all your belongings back. Well, this is how my experience was. They gave me all my belongings back, and then, in all honesty, the woman or the man who was there didn't say anything. They just sat there. They were like, "Here's your belongings," and I'm like, "Okay." And I just happened to look down on the table, and I seen my results, and it said pass. And you guys, this was a very, very emotional experience for me. I worked so hard day and night because, again, science and math were my worst subjects in school. And you would think, like, why would she pick a science career? But this is just something I fell in love with. I am going to do another video in regards to how I started this journey, but I did personally lose over 125 pounds, and I just happened to fall in love with it. I had a personal trainer myself, and I always just wanted, ever since he was able to help me reach my goals, I always wanted to help other people. That was just something that I wanted to do. So I did go to school again for psychology. I always knew my goal in life was to help people. I didn't know how or how I would go about helping people or when it would be, but I just knew that I have that thing about me where I like to help any and everyone. So when I was 300 something pounds and I needed help losing weight, I ended up finding someone that helped me, and then I fell in love with the fitness. I fell in love with going to the gym, seeing results, getting amped up to go to the gym. It was just amazing. But again, I'll put up another video. Again, this is my first YouTube video, so bear with me. I'm jumping all over the place. But with the exam, some tips. I did take a lot of the practice exams. So again, on my guided study, they gave you access to the practice exams, and you can take them as many times as you like. I'd recommend for you guys to take those exams as many times as you feel comfortable, and make sure that you receive a score above 80%. Now, everyone knows on the exam you only need a 70% to pass. But the reason why I state an 80% or above, because once you actually reach past the 70% and you're above that, you're starting to realize that you're starting to understand the concepts that you're being quizzed on. So I would definitely recommend to get that. And also, it just gives you a safe line margin. Like, if you're passing your exams with 70%, 71%, and you go to take your actual NASM, Certified Personal Trainer exam, it's really gonna be rocky to see if you really actually pass, because you've only been passing your practice exams with the minimum amount that you can pass the actual exam with. So I always tell people to give yourself a comfort range, is what I'm thinking. So I took a lot of the practice exams. I didn't stop taking them until I hit 80 or above. So I was passing my exams with 80, 83. I think I passed one of my exams with like a 90. So I definitely recommend taking those practice exams. Don't stop until you get above 80%. I honestly recommend that. Also, one thing that worked out for me is, since I don't have any science background or anything like that, I had a hard time learning the muscles and the anatomy of the body. So there is a website, I believe it is called Anatomy Arcade. I am going to post it in the link below. So again, it's called Anatomy Arcade. So they have different crossword puzzles, different games. There is one game on there that I played religiously. I think it was called like Locate the Muscle or Find a Muscle. So it had like the guy in anatomic position, and you would click on where they would be asking for them or which muscle is which. I learned, when I kid you not, I learned exactly where every muscle was, what the muscle was from that game. They give you that diagram in this book. I mean, you guys can definitely, learn or teach yourself that way out of the book, but it's honestly a fun and an interactive way to learn where these muscles are, how they work together, the names of them. It was very easy to learn that because it was interactive. It was fun. It timed you. It gave you a score. So I would definitely recommend that. I will put that in the link below. I did get that from one of the other YouTubers that I watched, and I would highly recommend that. So again, if you guys have any questions as to anything else that I've done, I did set a time, about an hour to an hour and a half. I would set a timer on my phone to study each and every day. The day before my exam, I kid you not, I could not sleep. I could not focus. I work full time, so I had to go to work. I was trying to study and brush up on my cards and everything on my lunch breaks or my breaks, and it was just like I could not focus for anything. So I don't recommend, that's one thing that they were saying, I don't recommend to try to cram the night before, because in all honesty, if you don't understand it throughout your entire time, you're not going to understand it the day before. I would also recommend, again, making these flashcards, because the day before and the day of, I actually set in my card 30 minutes before the exam and just flip through them, and made sure that I just, hit every single one. That just kept my brain fresh on the subject. It just kept me, up to date with everything that that I needed to know. I would recommend that, but I do not recommend cramming. I didn't sleep very well. They try to tell you to get about maybe 6 to 8 hours. I didn't sleep very well. I think I went to sleep at like maybe 1 a.m. Woke up at like 6. It was very bad, and I just sat on my porch. I sat on my porch in the morning and just went over my note cards and sat. My exam wasn't until 12 p.m. that afternoon, so I don't know why I set it so late, but I just sat from 6 a.m. to 12 or to about maybe 10 before I left, and just honestly got myself mentally prepared. I listened to music. It was such a rainy day on the exam, so it was kind of foggy and downing, but I made sure that I got through it. I couldn't believe I passed. I had so much support from my previous trainer. We're still really good friends. My husband, my family, everyone was really helpful. So you guys, I definitely recommend, or definitely say that was one of the things. I'm sorry, I live by a automotive shop. I'm gonna try to edit as much as that as I can, but I definitely recommend having supportive people around you during this time, because it is very stressful and a very difficult time, especially as you come closer to your exam. If you guys, again, have any questions, I'll try to make this video as informative as I can. If you guys have any questions, definitely feel free to leave the comments down below. I will answer them to the best of my ability. But also, one thing that I received with my guided study, or my package that I bought from NASM, is the Business Accelerator program. So now that I'm already actually certified, they are helping me find a job in my career. So I have to, I guess, apply for at least 3 jobs within a certain range or area that I live in. And they're going to help me, I guess, get a job. So that's pretty cool, and connect me with people who are looking for trainers. So if you guys are going to get the all-inclusive package, definitely do so, because they're helping me find a job. So again, I'm going to go ahead and end this video, but thank you guys so much for watching.